have four. That have four.
Yeah. We're back to a 7-member committee
You
now.
just have a majority,
Just
including
a
you.
simple majority.
Robert, your phone number still 417-3616.
3619.
That's maybe why I tried to call you and it wouldn't go through, so I figured I had something wrong. 3619. When I got this new phone, I had to I couldn't transfer the numbers, and I had to try to look at one and put it back in as I was, and I think there was several of them that I got the wrong number poked in.
Tried to call a bakery the other day in Lebanon, and I did not know they had gone out of business, and some poor man had their number. And I said, "I'm sorry, sir." I said, "How many times does that happen?" He said, "About 3 or 4 times a week."
50 times a day. Thank you.
You know, Google's real good about telling you where the businesses are, but it's not very good about telling you when
They
they're
don't
not.
update it instantly.
Once you get on there, you can't get off.
For another part of our next month.
We had a
80 degrees outside your work.
It's a light day.
Maybe she's anticipating it'll be cool when we finish.
I've had a building for 3 years now, and my office has never had AC until about this month.
Well, it's a beautiful day out there.
Gorgeous.
It is.
We have 4 members present. That does constitute a quorum, so let's go ahead and begin our meeting, and if others can join us, we'll just let them flow in. The minutes of your September meeting were part of your email packet. Were there any changes or corrections that needed to be made to that set of minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as stated.
I'll say,
Motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Your financial report was also a part of that mail-out packet. It shows you an ending balance of $152,831.50. No, the only change to that in the last 30 days was payment for Carmen surveying of $350. Any discussion on the financial report?
Make a motion to accept.
If you would accept, I need a motion and a second. Heather, you
I'll
seconding?
second.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Any other discussion on the financials? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. And I just kind of put these things together in the agenda and they may not be in the right order. I was absent from the last meeting, so I was just pulling together notes and thoughts that needed to have some follow-up discussion. And the first one I put on there was the Retail Academy update. Brian, I think you and the mayor attended that, and if you have an update, we'll entertain that.
It's 95% finished. I think we're about complete now. There's a few more phone calls. I think they're going to have some conferences with us, phone conferences or Zoom meetings. But yes, I think we've completed most of that academy. They gave us a little bit of homework, and the mayor's pretty much already done it. And but basically, it was giving us basic skills on how to accumulate an inventory of our properties that are marketable, not only properties that are available, but properties that would likely or possibly be available, and how to categorize those, and how to devise brief but focused sales pitches, so that when you approach these franchise owners, franchise companies, that they're very specific about what they want to hear, and they don't want to hear anything else. So they were kind of giving us the tools to do that. So we watched several hours of videos going through different scenarios and all different facets of that. But I think we're just about completed with that. To my knowledge, we got one more or two more meetings.
I think we got one more of the group meeting, and that's on the 29th, I believe. I think that might be it, but I've got so many different things going on, but I think that's it on the 29th.
Sounds right. But that's about the gist of it. We're pretty well finished with that program.
Questions? Sewer access on the Anderson property update. Brian, you obtained, you worked out a whole lot of those details at right prior to the last meeting, and it turned out that some survey reports that we had relied upon were not as accurate as we had hoped, and it showed that sewer access and the boundary lines to be different from what we had been led to believe. And the last survey showed that from the edge of Anderson's property, it was some 20 plus or minus feet across Old Time Express property to tie into the sewer tap. We did get all of that surveyed. Carol Carmen Survey Company did that for us. We have half of the easement signed. I did get an email this afternoon showing that Mark White, representing Old Time Express, had signed the easement. I did speak verbally to Anderson this morning. He was asking about its status and where we were, so I have forwarded him a message stating that White has signed. Brandon Beller will need a official, clean, signed copy to file, but he said he could get the ball rolling with the scanned signatures but he'll have to have the original signed in order to file it and register it. So we've got about half of that part done. And Tommy, that may be why you're here tonight, is it?
No, I'm just.
You're just here. Okay.
Well, I'm here to see what was coming out of.
Okay.
They laid some line out there already.
Anderson told me this morning on the phone that his construction company has laid the line from his building to his boundary. So all that will be left will be crossing this easement and then hitting your tap.
It was my understanding, and you can confirm or correct, Mr. Carmen indicated that until the easement is secured, then at that point, he will send his guys back out there to make a definitive measurement to the tap cleanout, and then we will know what our actual footage is, but it looks like it's gonna be minimal. I'd say that all Mr. Anderson is waiting on is that easement to be secured so he can go ahead and move some dirt and get through there,
Well,
so.
half of it's secured. The ball will land very quickly in Mr. Anderson's chair so that he can execute his signature, and then Brandon will work to get the original clean copies that can be filed. Questions?
Do you need any movement from us?
Not at this point. I think you've already, in the past, executed all the movements you needed. We're just waiting on the pieces to fall together right now and bring this to an end. And I think it's getting closer. But I don't think I need anything at this point. If I do, I'll make contact with you, but I believe we're good.
Well, we gave either one of you the authority to execute.
To act on the board's behalf,
Needed to
and
be
we've
done.
been continuing to do that.
Thank you.
And then as things materialize, we refresh the board so that they know where we are and what we've done. And so that's the latest report that I've got as of mid-afternoon. But hopefully within a few days, we'll get the signatures on the document and we can get that part finalized.
Sounds good.
I had left the request for funds application that we worked on. Have any that were sent out been returned for consideration? I know Carson Jones contacted me 3 to 4 times right after 2 meetings ago wanting an application. And then when we did give him one, it almost like all conversation stopped. I don't know whether he saw something in it he didn't like sharing or what, but he was almost insistent to get one in the beginning, but I've not gotten a copy of a finalized one back. And I was just checking to see if he might have sent it to anybody else.
I've not seen any documents, anything down.
Okay. We can just kind of leave that one on the agenda from time to time to see if we do have any requests now that we have a mechanism in place to evaluate and deal with those. IDB website, it is on the screen.
Yep.
I will say that I have received no suggestions or critiques from any of the board members since our last meeting about this. I've looked at the website 2 or 3 times. I'm sure there's some things that could be done to it, but I can't think of anything. I'm kind of at a loss. I think it looks pretty good, but I think the mayor has some things to show us.
We've been trying to keep it up to date, and we'll go back as we can. We've been keeping it up, as you do see. We're doing it like we do the other county committees and commission. There's some of your past dates. You got your agenda, the packet that's handed out to the members, minutes once they're approved, then the videos I've been doing. We've been posting those on Facebook, so there's a link to the videos on Facebook. We're basically using that for all our video storage. Basically is Facebook, and we just link to the county website, so when you click on the link it takes you to that video, and there's a description on there. As I said, as we get more documents, if you get a payment in lieu of tax program or documentation on that, we can post that on there and either make it a fillable PDF or one they can download and fill it out themselves. If it's something that they want to do and do a fillable PDF, we can actually put a submit button on it, then go through, complete it online, and hit submit, and it'll go to whatever email address the board wants it to go to, so you'll have it electronically, and then you can share it to whoever you want, or it can be set up to go to the entire board. We did include a link to our economic development page that had a lot of information that would be related to economic development, or somebody looking at the Industrial Development Board's page may want to look at. AmeriColor asked if we would assist them with doing possibly some hiring, so we post that on here. If you keep going down, this is a chart and information that's courtesy of Greater National Regional Council. They let us piggyback on a contract they had with a company that does demographics. This updates on its own. We don't have to do anything with it whatsoever. It just updates automatically. So it'll put new information on there as the new census comes out. It'll update all that information. Has a lot of just the basic information that prospects are looking at. So that was a great help, and I'm really appreciative for Greater National Regional Council letting us use that. That really shortcut a lot of stuff that we don't have to keep updating ourselves. It does it automatically. And then we go down here at the bottom, we put these things on here. If you want to get more information on workforce development, you click on it, drops down. Here's all the agencies or educational institutions we work with on economic development, workforce development, and you can click on those and it will take you to their pages so you can get more information that way. Here's the listings of kind of our major industrial sectors we got here. Manufacturing, click on that, drops down. Here's some of our major manufacturing. Again, same thing, you click on these and it takes you to a link to their website so you can get more information from there. Our logistics right now, just majorly, Old Time Express really the only one has a web page or any kind of online presence. And then, of course Civic being our only corrections, and here we've got a link to their website as well. Industrial parks. The county, we don't have a website for our park. That could be something we put on there, but mainly it's filled up, but we'll include information on there as well. But this PowerCom, it'll actually take you to, I'll click on that and can give you an idea of what the Tennessee Central uses to market PowerCom. They go through TVA's site. You can actually go in here and they'll give you different sites throughout TVA's service area. This one specifically for PowerCom gives you information on the park itself, who to contact. So we linked from our economic development page for that. Then other economic development partners, these are mainly state or federal agencies or other institutions like Greater National Regional Council, Middle Tennessee Industrial Development Association. So we really tried to include those major partners that we work with, or any other educational institutions or industries we've got, and this will be constantly updated as we grow. If AmeriColor comes in, we'll update their information and put it in there. So that's what we have right now. And as I said, this will always be constantly updated with new information and things as it becomes available. So, are there any questions on the
Mayor,
web
back
pages?
on the Industrial Board's homepage?
Yes, sir.
We have added another member to the board.
Yes, sir.
Seth
We'll have to update
Thurman's
that.
name needs to be added to that list.
Can you start at the home page and navigate to it? Because I'm having trouble finding it.
We can't right now because we were
Okay.
waiting for the board to give us the go
Oh,
ahead and
okay,
make
so
it.
it's not, that's why I'm not finding it, it's not on there yet.
You can find it if you do through the search. You can find it, but right now, until we got the go ahead from the board, we didn't make it part
I
of
got
the
you.
normal
I
page.
got you.
We're just using it as a build out for right now, and then we were going to go live with it once we got the okay from the board.
I understand.
I think it looks good, personally.
Discussion, yeah.
As a general, it looks really well there. I do have concern that there's not a contact on there for the board at all, so that I might recommend we,
At the bottom, I think when you scroll to the bottom, there was contact information with phone numbers for the mayor's office, and
okay.
I don't know whether that would work or whether you want to.
How does that work for the other boards, Mayor?
Usually the other boards, most boards, they contact, if somebody has a question about a board or a committee, they contact the mayor's office.
Okay, as long as we have
So-
consistency, I'm great with
And
that.
then they
If the
refer
board,
it
if
on.
the IDB is.
He forwards it on.
Okay.
Is that okay with
Great.
you, Mayor? Because that's a lot more work for you guys.
Well, I get a lot of contact there, whether it's something that I refer to Tennessee Central. So if you all want to pick a member that we can set it up as contact, that'd be fine. Or we can set it up as an email that maybe it goes to like IDB, Hartsville, Trousdale, IDB@gmail.com or
We
something.
have room in the county's email system that the IDB could have its own unique email. someone would have to be assigned or tagged to that, but it's a Gmail account. We've done that for some other boards. We did that for the fire department. We've done that, I think Water's got one of those. Library maybe has got one. But our county email, if you want to lift it and give it a legitimate access point, you might consider getting an email address assigned to IDB, and then one of the members would just need to load it into their phone or into their computer so that they regularly check and it's not just an idle account that nobody sees.
You can link it to another account so that it automatically shows up on that.
I do that with mine. I'm on the fire department's email. I also have an account because of my connection with the water department. I've got all those accounts linked on my phone with my personal Gmail, so I see everything every day. So that part's pretty easy to do if you want to go that route.
As chair and probably the person with the most experience in this, what do you think?
I would have no problem with that.
We now have an application that can be forwarded back and forth and things.
For many, many years, this was a committee that functioned in name only.
So,
And even when I joined it, it was in name only.
I welcome the conversation to begin through the mayor's office and then forwarded to us as other boards are consistently doing currently right now. But also welcome as we're growing the technology of social interaction. You know, I know you're working on the social campaign for social media and things for us.
Well, and
So,
the day may come
yeah, I
that
think
you
we're getting
choose
there.
not to use your personal email as a contact viaduct in official county business.
Right.
So it may be more pertinent to use a Gmail account.
For me, the traffic we have for this particular board is so minimal, I don't mind, so.
I hadn't minded either at this
Okay.
point.
10 or 20 a day would be
And
different,
I communicate to you 5 or 6 people more than I do anybody else regarding this stuff.
I'm okay with leaving it the way it is for the time being. If it looks like we need to expand later, we always have room.
I think we're getting there.
We probably, if you like what you see on the template that's been worked on, I think we need to give the mayor's office an approval so that it can be formally linked
I make a
with
motion.
the county's website content.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Come in, Seth.
That Seth be added to that, Ross.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Seth, they're taking a vote now on the website template where it can be added to the county's website.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is done. Next is retail strategy consultant. And Brian, you have an opinion letter regarding this, and you can share that. I guess the first question we had before we migrate too far into the discussion was, is this something that the IDB can do, which would be spend money on a consultant that might benefit some of the retail strategies here in town. That opinion, that question was posed to Brandon Beller, the county's attorney, and his reply is shown in the letter that Brian has passed around.
We requested from Mr. Beller, the county attorney, as Mr. Beeler said, to render some research and an opinion on the legality on whether we were permitted to engage a consultant firm similar or as retail strategies we've been discussing, or the mayor with his legal background, had already done his own research and could not find any speed bumps or roadblocks, but he wanted to defer to another opinion. So we did this, and this is the letter you have before you. And I will, it's pretty brief, I won't read it, but it's, unless you think it's necessary, but he sees no problem whatsoever in his research with engaging agents on our behalf to build, grow, or facilitate, economic growth in our community. The bylaws for industrial development are somewhat vague, and I think that's by design, so it gives you some latitude to grow and mold as you go. So that is the letter that we have here. The other thing is that I spoke with Ms. Beasley, the point person. I don't know if she's the CEO or whatever her position is. She may be the CEO, but the point person on the retail strategy. I spoke with her today, and I know that Mr. Jewell and Mr. Chambers have had some email back and forth with her, but with COVID and Retail Strategies is the designer and sponsor and implementer of Retail Academy that we spoke about earlier, so they've been rather busy. But I called Ms. Beasley and spoke to her this afternoon, and she has emailed me a list of prospective dates, and I have forwarded those to Mr. Beeler, Mr. Jewell, and Mr. Chambers, and that's kind of above my pay grade, but let smarter people than that figure out what day works. And she can come up and make a physical presentation. And once we hammer that down, then I think after that presentation, then we can sit down and really discuss whether we want to go forward with this venture. I did ask her, and in the email, she sent a copy of the contract for us to look at. And I did ask her how payment is made, and she says that each year is in advance of the subsequent year. So it's not one of those things where it's all up front. It's a year at a time, which I think would work with our parameters. The other thing that we need to do upon the mayor's suggestion, and I need to ask whether Mr. Beeler or Mr. Thurman would be the most suited for it, but we need a budget. And he said it could even be just the simplest one-line item, but we need a budget. And I'm just not aware of I know we don't have a lot of bank account activity, but what we have needs to be done. So I think we need to decide that this evening. So who would you suggest, Mark, as being the most, are you the most in tune with that, or is that be more the secretary?
Robert could handle that too, he's handling the bank account. There's been
Stephen just said it needs simple, right?
4 or 5.
Yeah, it won't be very in depth, and kind of how it's structured is kind of dictated by the comptroller's office, and that's something Amy could help you up with. Really, the only expenditures really you're going to have are probably, if you're going to do the retail strategies, it'll probably be one that says contracted services, and then you'll put budget for that, and then you can do the same thing as county commissioner. If something comes up through the year, you can do a budget in it and add it. But mainly it's going to be, there are certain things that have to be in there, but it's just pretty much following the template. It won't be that, from what I can tell looking at it, it shouldn't be that difficult. And I can send you audits of other industrial development boards, and most of them don't really have a lot of expenditures unless they have staff or something.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
They will have, or they will utilize certain object codes that are recognized by the comptroller's office for
Right.
incomes and expenditures. And that's the key thing, is to get your object codes right. And you won't have 4 or 5 expenditures.
Amy can probably tell you those right off the top of her head
Yeah.
without even having to look.
Right.
But I would reach out to her on that.
I would imagine we need to make a motion to put that in.
Yes. Yes.
So I make a motion that we ask Mr. Thurman to help us develop a budget. The fees with our discount is $35,000 a year. And I'm only assuming that we need to do 1 year's budget, not multiple years.
Yeah, it'd be one fiscal year at a time.
Now, if I can make it clear, Robert Thurman, 2 Thurman.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Mr. Robert, Secretary Treasurer. If he gets it mixed up, we have a problem.
When he answered that he was willing to do it, I just, I was off the hook.
No, we skipped over that.
Yeah, I was off the hook there.
Haley, did you second?
Yes, sir, I did second that.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to request Mr. Robert Thurman to develop a simple budget for the IDB utilizing comptroller's guidelines for the state of Tennessee. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed say no.
Mr. Beal. Lacey Beasley is the president of Retail
President,
Trade.
okay.
And the dates that she had proposed to us, just if y'all want to quickly look at that, was October the 30th, that's a Friday, or Friday, November 6th, or any time the week of the 9th through the 12th. Friday night meetings sometimes are hard. Are you talking about a meeting of just this board, or was this one you want to do joint with the county commission?
We want to get as many people involved as possible, so the Economic Development Committee, the County Commission, and the IDB.
I would agree with what Dwight is speaking about. Friday nights are not good nights. So I would suggest looking at one of those days, November 9 through 12.
What about Wednesday the 11th?
Are there other meetings? Can you tell that far in advance?
Yeah, I can.
That's Veterans Day. Oh,
I can't do it on any Wednesday in November.
Okay.
Wednesdays, we typically shy away from. Of course, a lot of churches are not meeting now, but there's still choir practices and things of that nature that are going on those nights. Right now, on the 9th, and Mayor, you probably got a more up-to-date list than I do. Planning Commission meets on Monday night the 9th, so I would shy away from that because that's a standing date, and I know they have quite a bit of business coming up. The 10th, other than the Election Commission meeting, I don't think there's anything that night, or the 12th is the Volunteer Fire Department meeting. Is that right, Mark?
With he'll probably be busy on the 12th with the fire department. Do you have obligations with the Election Commission?
No. Very few of our members would have any ties
Steve,
with
have
the
you got
election.
anything else on the 10th? I think they're honing in on it.
No, I don't go to the election commission. We really have no control. It's really under the state election commission. We don't really have any say or anything on that commission.
Right now, I think the 10th is the best,
What
probably.
time frame and what length of time, what time of day, what length of time?
Well, it would occur to me that evening would be best because most folks work during the daytime. So I would say a 6 or 7 o'clock meeting, and I would probably allow for 2 hours. It may not take quite that long, but she will dump a truckload of data on us and information. So she is very, very knowledgeable, impressive to listen to, and she's going to do I had discussed with her doing a big screen presentation, so that with microphones and everything, so everybody could hear. And if everybody could see the data, because she has lots of graphs and charts and information to pass along. And then we have probably a question and answer session.
6 o'clock meetings are becoming more and more popular. We're getting good. You know, forever and a day we were 7 o'clock, and so many people want to get started. If it's going to be a long meeting, I would suggest starting at 6.
Well, we
Is there
can,
anyone on this board that's on the election commission?
No.
we can tentatively look at 6 o'clock on November the 10th, Tuesday. And I can, or you or somebody,
Where do we want to hold it?
I would say in the courtroom.
I think so too. The big
Upstairs.
upper-
Upstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we can spread out for social distancing there. We've got room to set up a big screen. I've got my big screen we can set up,
Okay.
and I have a projector. So it just seems like it would make more sense. I know we're in the process of putting new floor downstairs, but I think we can work around that if we need to. Mayor, do you think that would be okay?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Mayor, would you like to communicate with Lacey and discuss that with her? You probably going to be most informed on what's going on with anybody.
Yeah, I'll send it to her.
Unless you want somebody else to do it, we'll be happy to delegate, no
No,
problem.
I could actually just do it probably right here, right now.
Or
Okay. Any other discussion on the retail strategies updates? I think what we were awaiting was for this meeting to try to get scheduled, and then we continue to move forward. One, you've got the meeting scheduled. Two, you've got the legal opinion that it is within our parameters that we can hire and utilize a consultant.
I think it turns out timely too, because we could start our engagement with them, January, beginning of the year.
commission steering committee meeting's on the 5th, so I can announce it for sure there and talk to them and kind of give them a little background of what we're trying to do.
Where you can push an email out to all
Well,
of them.
yeah, but sometimes it's better.
Let me see how much time I have.
Yeah, we'll get an email for sure, and it'll be on the calendar, but I'm just saying, that gives me at least one opportunity, and I'll make an announcement Monday night that this is coming up that day, if we set that date to come down. If I'd known it last night, we could have talked about it in the work session, give them a little bit more information about it.
And I'll be happy to be there in case you have questions or want to say something.
But I'm just saying that gives us 2 opportunities to make them aware of it in person.
Anything else on the retail strategies?
Not this one, and then I look forward to it.
I had put the pilot payment in lieu of taxes back on. At my last remembering, we were awaiting Tennessee Central to update the old pilot document and bring that back to us. It had been some 3 to 4 years since it was first written, and that it needed some updates. I have not had any update from Dan Tidcomb, so I have nothing to report to you. That's another one that we can continue to leave on the agenda until we get the update from Tennessee Central.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add to that, I did speak to Dan about this and discussing some other things. And he was currently waiting for some feedback on some other agencies or whatnot as to some suggestions they had to update the pilot. So that's kind of where that stands right now.
I sat through at the governor's conference a seminar or a work session on that. And it was an hour of rocket science that I did not even understand the vocabulary, so I can warn you up front, I may be no help in that area.
Those pilots have a lot of technical, specific, economic language in them that most laymen don't understand.
I was lost.
Well, they just use so many acronyms, that's the problem. If they get off the acronyms, we can follow it.
Well, I could have been sitting through it a lot.
Yeah, but then the document would be 40 more pages longer if they spelled everything out.
We have a glossary.
Other comments,
They need to hand you a glossary every time you enter.
other comments that need to come before the board today? I have one. It is my plan in the next short venture, month or two, to step down from the board. I'm trying to wean myself away from more and more of my board obligations. I've got about 2 more to go, and this was one of them. So the mayor and I have had a preliminary discussion. I haven't given him a letter yet, but it will be my plan to probably do this by end of November, 1st of December, so that you all can continue in transition. I did offer to the mayor that I would put together a short list of some folks that might be good recommendations, that folks that would be willing to get involved in some public community service.
Well, I hate to.
You will be sorely missed. You were highly respected, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. I sincerely hope that we have you long enough to get through retail strategies, because I know you've been involved in that and would like to help with that if you can. But you will be missed.
And whomever you transition to as your next chairman, I'll be glad to offer some advice and words of wisdom if I have any. Just a phone call away.
Thank you for all that you've done for this community and for this board.
I can't much blame you for trying to slow down and enjoy yourself, but leave some big shoes.
All good things must come to an end sometime. And I know since I started my political community service, I like the way you worded that. But, you've been at the head, and I've learned a lot, and I do appreciate everything that you've done for me personally and for the community. And we speak for the community when you said you've sacrificed a lot and served a lot, and not on just this board, but on several. And we Trousdale County appreciates you, and I personally appreciate you.
Anything else to come before this body tonight?
This means we get to have a party, right? We'll come to Tybee.
You better have a lot of spare rooms.
Anything else tonight? Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
So done.
That's how you do a meeting right there.
That is, that's how, you too.